Greetings, beloved in Christ. I hope that you are well on this beautiful day that the Lord has made. I am back in Denver, having spent a week in Alabama at our spring House of Bishops meeting. As part of our meeting, the House of Bishops was invited to Birmingham to tour the Legacy Museum and to see the Peace and Justice Memorial, also known as the Lynching Memorial, that have been built there as part of the Equal Justice Initiative spearheaded by Bryan Stevenson. It was a painful, painful look into our past, our American past, the history of slavery, the history of Jim Crow, the history of our ability to be cruel to one another. It was particularly poignant to me because I visited these memorials after having a conversation with one of my twins about the stories of a Holocaust survivor when that survivor came to speak to his class. He asked me, "Mommy, how can people do this to one another?" It is indeed a difficult question for a mom to answer because there is so much cruelty and brutality in our world. And so I said to him, it is one of the reasons that I follow Jesus, because I recognize that capacity for cruelty and brutality lives in my heart. It lives in your heart. It lives in all of us. Our capacity to devalue and then dehumanize and then justify our brutality, sometimes even claiming divine authority to do so, is a capacity every human being has. But if we live the way Jesus calls us to live, if you take out your gospel and you have one of those red letter versions and you pay particular attention to the red lettered parts, the parts about being more concerned about the log in your own eye than the speck in your neighbor's, the parts about doing to others as we would have them do to us, the parts about loving God and loving neighbor. When you study those parts, when you embrace them, you increase your capacity to look and see Christ in the other. You increase your capacity to see the image of God. You increase your capacity for forgiveness. And by grace, diminish that capacity for hatred and othering and cruelty. Our season of Lent invites us to look into the very darkest corners of our hearts and minds. It invites us to let Christ's light inform who we are and how we treat others, no matter how strange, no matter how different, no matter how other they seem. If you are in Birmingham, I hope that you will visit the Legacy Museum and the Peace of Justice Memorial. I hope that you will sit with all of the ugliness and all of the pain and recognize that grace remains an option, that peace remains an option, and that justice is our call as followers of Jesus. Blessing.